You've registered for a race, whether it be a triathlon or a cycling event, and now you're trying to figure out how to transport your bike to the race destination. Should you send it on a plane? Should you box it up and ship it out through your local bike store? What are your options? I'm Hilary Topper, and this is Hilary Topper On Air. Today, I'm speaking with Marc Lauzon, who is the president and CEO of TriBike Transport. Hi, Marc. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, Hilary. How are you?
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background? I read you have an amazing background.
Well, I've had a few different careers in my 30-odd years of work life, from construction to working on oil rigs. But I started my real working career with UPS in operations, and stayed with them for about 7 years. And then went back to college, and then in 1990, and graduated with a business degree. Worked as a management consultant for a couple of years, and then went to Wharton School of Business for my MBA. Graduated from there in 1999. Worked in San Francisco in investment banking for a couple of years, and that's where I was living when I did my first triathlon in 2001.
Wow. And you're also an Ironman, right?
Yes, actually, that first season was also my first Ironman season.
Oh my goodness!
I didn't know it at the time, but it was fairly epic calendar for the season. Started with the Wildflower long course as my first triathlon. My second one was Escape from Alcatraz.
Wow.
I did Vineman, half Ironman, and finished it off with Ironman Canada in August of that year. So at least 3 and maybe all 4 of those races are bucket list events that everyone should do. Every triathlete should do at least once.
Wow, that's so cool. So how did you decide to form TriBike Transport? How did that come about?
That was in 2004. I was in San Francisco training with a group of friends for Ironman Coeur d'Alene, which was in June of that year. And at the time, I was doing management consulting work, and had a fairly flexible schedule. So I figured I'd rent a van and transport the bikes for the group and have them all pitch in to pay for my trip. I like a road trip every once in a while, so I thought it would be a good way to help everyone out and to have a bit of a vacation. After that, I came up with the idea of sending an email to a few tri clubs in the Bay Area, Golden Gate Tri Club, Silicon Valley Triathlon Club, and a couple of other ones. And before I knew it, I had right around 60 people signed up to send their bikes to Coeur d'Alene, and that kind of started the ball rolling. And it didn't do much for my race, but it kind of prompted me to look into the market, do a bit of research, and put together a business plan. Did a couple of other events that year, transported bikes to Wisconsin, Ironman Wisconsin, and Ironman Florida, and decided to go to Ironman and presented them with the idea and to become a partner. And we've been an Ironman sponsor / partner since that year. 2005 was the first year.
That's amazing. Now you ship to most of the Ironman events. Do you do all of them or just many of them?
In North America, it's most of them. And that first year, there were only 5 events on the North American Ironman calendar, but it's grown now to, I think there are right around 40 between the 70.3s and the full distance Ironman events. And I think we do all except maybe a half dozen of them that are more regional, that don't have enough athletes traveling by air to make our service feasible.
So is it just Ironman events, or is it other events as well?
No, we also transport to USAT events, USA Triathlon, and as their bike transport partner, we can transport, or we offer service to ITU World Championship events. 2 years ago, we took bikes for the Team USA to Rotterdam. Last year, we took them to Denmark and to Australia for the grand final in September last year. We also do, of course, the Ironman World Championships in Kona and the 70.3 World Championships that were in Australia 2 years ago, South Africa last year, and are going to be in Nice this year. And for USAT, we're actually going to the ITU World Championships in Spain for duathlon and long course at the end of April, and then the World Championships or the grand final in Switzerland, in Lausanne, Switzerland, in September.
Very, very cool.
And we also do some other races, actually, big destination events like Escape from Alcatraz, and we're expanding into several events in Europe this year.
So walk me through the process of logistics. When someone contacts you, what are the steps?
Well, first, actually, I was going to say first you decide on your race, but actually a lot of athletes go to our website to decide what events they're going to consider before they finalize their schedule, because they won't travel anywhere that we can't take their bike. Right. So, but once that race is selected and you're signed up, you just go to our website. That's tribiketransport.com. Select your event and to register, and then it'll give you options for bike shops partner shops that we work with, and you select the one nearest where you live. And there we have in the New York area, we have a few: New York, New Jersey. We have 2 in New York City, and several, probably I think it's about 90 to 95 shops across the U.S. now. So you select your shop, and you sign up and pay the fee, obviously. That fee varies. For domestic events, it's right around $350 for the round trip. And overseas, obviously, it's a bit more than that. But and then we email you the drop-off deadline, which is typically a week to 10 days before, depending on the distance from the event destination, but a week to 10 days before the event date, the race date. And when you're getting to that point, you get your bike to the shop fully assembled. You don't have to pack it in a case. Leave it at the shop, and we will pick it up in one of our trucks. Again, fully assembled. We never tear it down. Drive it to the event. When you get there, your bike's waiting for you on a rack, and we give it to you. You have it for the weekend. Once you're done with your race, you bring it back to us and forget about it till you get home. We'll load it up again, fully assembled, drive it back to the shop that you came from, and so that it's ready for you to pick up when you get home.
Wow, it makes it so easy.
That's the idea. A lot of people appreciate it, especially for further distances and overseas, where a lot of people will travel and take a bit of a vacation after their race, and they don't want to haul the bike around in the case. The other option that you mentioned at the beginning, what other options are available? One is obviously to ship it with UPS or FedEx, or to box it up and take it with you on the plane. There's obviously the cost or the time an effort to break down the bike and pack it, the cost of the case, the cost of the shipping if it's FedEx or UPS, or the airlines, which the majors will all charge right around $150 each way. So you're looking at $150 twice for the round trip, plus the cost of a larger vehicle at the other end. And of course, anytime a bike is disassembled and put together again, there are chances that things might not be adjusted quite the way you left them. So it's a lot less effort and a lot less potential for things to go wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd rather send my bike the way it is than break it down and, have it broken down so many different times or reassembled. Yeah, so you're totally right on. Before we move on, I just want to say I'm so appreciative of all of our sponsors, and I must thank them. Please support our sponsors and tell them that you heard about them on Hilary Topper On Air. Special thanks to the Russo Law Group, MetPro, Once Again Nut Butter, and Fortune Fine Jewelry. So Marc, back to you. Is this way of transporting your bike also more economical? I guess it is, than being on a plane, right?
Yes, and it's something that's not necessarily obvious when you look at it. A lot of people look at our fee of $350, and there's a bit of a sticker shock, if you will. But just the airline fee would be $300 for, like I said, for the majors. And then the cost of a larger vehicle at the other end, the hassle and trouble of hauling the bike behind you through all these airports and the hotel and everything else. Plus, we have some other optional or complimentary services, including valet service, where we'll go get your bike from transition area after your race and either hold it for you. We have two levels of service. One is where we'll hold your bike for you to come by the next day to take all of your nutrition off of it and so on before you ship it back, or we take it back. And the other is Finish and Fly, where we'll go into transition, take your bike, take all the nutrition and water bottles and bag them up in a duffel bag that we supply, and send it back to your shop so that you don't have to do anything with or about your bike after you finished your race. You can just relax and celebrate.
That's so awesome. I saw also that you guys transport gear bags as well, right?
That's right. Yes. That's another option that we offer. So we actually have a lot of customers who fly to an Ironman race with carry-on luggage only, which is pretty amazing considering what all the stuff you have to carry with you. And it's especially appreciated by parents with small children, not to have to deal with all of the extra luggage.
Now, I also heard that you have a new service that you're launching this year called Pack and Ship Anytime, Anywhere. Can you tell me about that?
That's right. We actually started it a couple of years ago for events that we offer, that we transport bikes fully assembled to, so that if you don't live near one of our partner shops, you have the option of packing your bike or having it packed for you by a local shop or mechanic. And we send you a shipping label. We'll receive the bike and build it up so that when you get to the event, it's exactly the same service as you'd have with a fully assembled service. What's changing this year is that we are in the process. We actually have a new website that's about to launch. It's in the final testing phases now. Hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, it'll be up. But as far as the pack and ship service is concerned, we'll be offering service from any point to any destination. So that would be across the U.S. if it's an event that you're going to that we won't be at, or to, if you're just going on vacation, or if you're just shipping your bike to someone, or selling a bike, or having a bike shipped to you. Those are options that we'll offer, that you can sign up online. We'll send you the label. You have all the same options at a lower cost than it would be to ship directly through UPS or FedEx.
All right. So I want to go visit my father down in Florida, as an example. And I go onto your website and I sign up for this. How does it actually work? Do I still need to drop it off at a local bike store, and then it will arrive at a local bike store? Is that how this works?
Those will be options that are available, or if you would prefer just to, and some people are fairly handy and comfortable with packing their bike and have a case or a box available, we'll just send you the label, and you can have it shipped to a shop that you know down there, or one of our partner shops, or to your hotel, and so that it's there again when you get there, and we'll send you the label. You just attach it to the bike case, and off it goes.
Wow.
So so you don't have to deal with dropping it off at FedEx, or arranging for someone else to do all that work for you.
Well, the thing of it is that you guys are the experts in shipping bikes. So, for me to call up a FedEx or a UPS where I don't know who's handling my bike, right? I mean, that could be an issue.
Right. Well, it's still, it would go through one of their services. The difference is that we through our volume, we can get a lower rate that we pass on to you. If you don't have an account, full retail to ship a bike across the U.S. could be upwards of $100 or more one way. And if you do it through us, it's going to be considerably less expensive.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow. All right. Well, switching gears a little bit now, you've had this business for a few years now. I always love to hear advice from other entrepreneurs. If you had one piece of advice that you would offer another business starting up, what would that be?
Actually, that's a good question. I just came back from a conference, a Triathlon Business International conference, and that was one of the discussions that I was involved in. And it's interesting. When I first started the business, I frankly never expected that it would ever get to the point where it's at now, where we transport almost 10,000 bikes a year.
Wow.
There were only 5 events then. I thought I'd do that for a year or two, and at some point go back to getting a real job. But things just blew up. Ironman started adding more and more events. The demand for the service kept increasing, and frankly, I hadn't foreseen it. The biggest thing is probably to right up front to get funding. Obviously, that's important, so that you don't have to cut corners or run it on a shoestring. There were times when I won't say that it was being run on a shoestring, but it got to a point where I was doing everything. I was driving a truck along with however many other people we had on the road. I would answer customer service calls. I tracked and planned all of the logistics, and it was basically a one-man show. And that went on for 2 or 3 years until I got to a point where it was either I brought someone else on, or stuff was going to start falling between the cracks. It was going to be a big problem. And having a bit more cushion as far as funding is concerned, I would have been maybe less hesitant to hire that first person as a manager to help me run the business. And frankly, I probably would have got a lot more sleep through those years.
It's great.
And the other thing, obviously, I actually can continue, is getting the right team around you. We've got now. It took a while. You go through, you hire people, and things don't always work out, 100% like you would like. But we now have an outstanding team helping to manage the business. We've got 10 full-time people, and during the season we have 25 or 30 drivers that are seasonal. And now we're looking at hiring overseas. So it's all about the quality of the people you can trust, not just to trust to be, to be honest, but trust to make the right decisions when those times come up where choices have to be made. And that's just taught, or they learn it by observing you. So you have to set a good example, and it eventually the team, you realize that you're not all that necessary anymore. You're not the key person to run the business. It can run itself to some degree.
It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And finally, how do people get in touch with you and learn more about TriBike Transport?
Well, the website is the easiest. It's tribiketransport.com. And if you go to, if you want to email us, it's info@tribiketransport.com. Sure, the number is 800-875-0120.
And I'm on the line with Marc Lauzon, who is the founder and president of TriBike Transport. I want to thank you so much, Marc, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Hilary. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed our chat.
Thank you. And I also want to thank our sponsors, the Russo Law Group, MetPro, once again, Nut Butter, and Fortune Fine Jewelry. And last but not least, I want to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. If you want more information on this show or any other show, visit our new website at hilarytopperonair.com, or you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. We're out there. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.